Is this something you reckon you're consistently going to do?
Mate, I reckon if I do, I'll do it maybe once, because the last time I did it was 4 months ago. So if I do it again, I'll probably do it around Christmas time. Mate, it is honestly the clarity that I get in my brain.
Yeah.
Like, for me to have clarity is.
You got all the head noise, man. Have you got head noise?
You reckon? I've got serious head noise.
I say that to people as well. They're like, I just want to meditate. I'm like, geez, my head noise is off the Richter. Like, I got far too much head noise for that sort of carry on.
Mate, I did a when I was at the Titans, we did a what did we do? Yoga and Pilates, and then the lady who took us. I've never ever been in a meditated state before, and she got me into the meditated state. Holy shit! I felt amazing. Like it was unbelievable. I felt like I don't know. It was like, I can't.
You can see why yogis do it then. You can see why it's something that's so addictive and they have to do it every day. We were going to do the float tank, Jace? We still haven't done it, I want to go on there because
that's that salt one, eh?
Yeah. So I got a lot of they talk about it. Rogan talks about it all the time, doesn't he? About it, like a sensory deprivation tank. But I got so much shit going on in my head.
You can't relax.
I can't relax, but it's all over the show. Like I'm thinking about this, then I'm quickly thinking about I've got no routine or structure to my thinking at all.
Yeah.
And I feel like I spend the whole day thinking, and I achieve absolutely nothing with my thoughts.
Yep.
And so I need to almost what I can't do is think about, say, the podcast and things I want to do with that.
Yep.
Because then I'll start thinking about work.
Yeah, right.
And then I'll start thinking about what I'm doing this weekend. And then I'll start thinking about, I should be exercising. Like I just...
Yeah, but that's it. Like I'm exactly the same. Like I'm a mosquito. I'm classified. There's all these...
Is that a scientific term?
That's a psychologist. A guy by the name of Phil Joyce used to come into the Broncos. He's world-renowned sports psych. And so he did all the tests on all the players, and I come back as a mosquito. Which, you know what mosquitoes like.
Are you flattered? Mate, you're fucking the team up. You're blood sucking this team.
I tell you, my missus has tried to swap me a couple of times.
Yeah.
But he diagnosed me as a mosquito. Like I'm always thinking, I've always got something going on.
Yeah.
But this lady, we went when we were at the Titans, we used to do this stuff with Billy Johnson. Used to go do yoga and Pilates and all that sort of stuff. But then after we do the class, she'd go, right, I'm gonna put in 30 minutes and we'll do 30 minutes of meditation. Mate, I got in there and it was unbelievable. It was that good.
Are you getting more holistic in your old age?
No, more times I do this fast, I get
more holistic.
Oh yeah,
you can see the merits in it, eh?
Oh yeah.
The more you I'm not holistic. My wife's quite holistic with her approach with some things, but you can see I think people 80s, 90s, and probably early 2000s. A lot of people rolled their eyes at it, and you were an outlier if you were in that industry or did those things or looked or had an opinion, a holistic view on a lot of things.
Yep.
But now.
Yeah, well,
it's more. I think people are being a little bit more. There's more access to information that would help.
It's like I was, Willie Mason and I mates would going back and forward over the last couple of months, about all this high society pedophilia, and going down that rabbit hole. Once you get down that rabbit hole, holy shit!
Yeah.
And he was talking about. He goes, mate. Yeah, well, I said, mate, even this morning we were texting each other about certain stories that have come out. And he's like, mate, I said, I've given up on humanity.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, but you know what? Social media, what it's done is that, there's some bad things that come out of it, but you can expose people who have been hiding under a rock or hiding in the shadows who don't want to be exposed now are getting exposed all because
every week someone's coming out as a grub.
I know, but
every week.
But like I sit back and I have my views, and everyone talks about Donald Trump. I actually don't mind Trump in small doses, like not small doses. I can't say small doses. There are some things that I don't believe in, but there's some things there that I really I'm not believing. I'm just sitting back and I'm in with interest of where he's going to go with these certain things, like the high society. Have
you seen the Epstein one on Netflix?
Oh man,
I turned that off after 30 minutes.
But the thing is, like. It's like it's so ridiculous, but where there's smoke, there's fire.
Oh, well, they don't get the information from nowhere.
Nowhere. There's not. They pluck it out. And
nowadays, with courts and the ability to sue people, especially over there, they have to have merit to what they're saying.
Oh, 100%.
Or they'll literally go bust in no time because they'll just be sued.
But the thing is, like, you look at George Soros and all that. Is it George Soros? He owns all anyway, he owns most of the networks and that. Like, they're talking about the BLMs and all this sort of stuff and everything that's going on. Like, how much information do you now see about climate change? None.
Yeah.
Very well. I posted something this morning about it where people are laughing at Donald Trump saying you got to take certain type of medicine to get rid of COVID-19.
Yeah.
But then those same people that are ridiculing him for having an opinion on some medicine back in that Greta, whatever her name is, that little 16-year-old Swedish chick. Like, and then but it's so contradictory. The whole media stuff at the moment is so contradictory. I was reading something on Trump's Twitter this morning, and he said, you know what, fake news is the what did he say? Fake news is causing the angst amongst people. It is. It's controlling people.
Do you know what annoys me a lot about? I read something, I forget it. I quote a lot of quotes, and I have no idea where I read them from, but they're good.
Yeah.
Like, I need to try. I need to really start thinking. If I'm going to remember that, I'm going to remember who said it. Anyway, I read something somewhere.
Yep.
And it spoke real true to me. You can't have a formed opinion on something unless you 100% understand both sides of the argument.
Yep.
So if you want to look at, like, say, what buzzword ones, vaccines, or buzzword ones like the climate change, unless you 100% understand the negatives side and the positive side, you can't have an opinion. Yep. And I feel like everybody's opinions are so misinformed that they've gone with one side and they just double down on that one side, and they don't take time to understand the other side, so that then when they have an argument, this side's going at it with these facts and this side's going at it with these facts, and they never get anywhere because both of them don't understand either side of it. But if both people arguing understood both sides, there probably almost wouldn't be an argument.
But the thing is, even when we were kids, you know, you'd watch the 7 News or 9 News or 10 News, whatever news you'd watch, and you'd take it as gospel. Yeah. Now, because so many people have got so many different opinions, and it's all on Facebook, everyone's an expert on everything. Like 6 months ago, everyone was an expert on climate change. Yeah. Now they're an expert on vaccines. Now they're an expert on COVID-19. Now they're an expert on this. You just go, well...
Same thing. I was speaking to my wife about it last night. I said that you got to understand that 7 News, 9 News, 10 News, whatever, that's a TV show now. Yep. Like, they go on ratings. They live and die on their ratings.
So they've got to come up with something.
They have to come up with something, because what's another one? Farmer Wants a Wife's on the other channel versus the news, and they don't... They've got to get ratings. Yep. They can't just sit there and deliver the facts. Like, where I'm from in New Zealand, they had 2 channels, TV1, TV3. They still do. Yep. And there's pretty much, well, I shouldn't speak out of turn. I don't know, but that they just, and if you go to TV1 and TV3, there'd be 80-90% of those channels would be pretty much the same, and then the other 10% would be a feel good story from up north or down south, or this puppy rode a skateboard, whatever. But the other ones, they just deliver the news. Whereas you come to a bigger country like Australia, and then you get the agendas on each news cycle, and they've got to go with ratings.
Then you got CNN, then you got Fox, then you got NBN, then you got NBC, and then you got all of it.
It's even worse magnified in the States.
States.
States is ridiculous. Like, we're diet America, big time, and then New Zealand's diet Australia. But that's what the good thing about over there is they just deliver the facts. And if they start pushing some sort of agenda, people will just, like, over there, they just know nonsense. They're like, we're not listening to that shit. That's right. And so they just give, hey, this is what's happening. How crazy are these people? Yeah. And like, whereas over here, or not so much over here, but in the States, they'll be like, oh, these people are crazy, but it's great, and we're doing this and that. The news just confuses me. I don't watch it at all.
I don't watch it at all. Yeah. I honestly, I'll watch.
Do you know why I don't watch it as well? It's because I feel like an idiot. Yeah. Like, I don't understand it. And like, back to my point about knowing both sides, I barely know one side because I don't pay enough attention to it. So I'm like, well, I can't really form an opinion on this because I don't actually know the opposite. Yep. And it's almost like you go to another news channel and you're about to find what the opposite side of this thing is. Yeah. And then you get into politics.
Well, so that's the thing.
You're diving deep with the.
And I'm going down rabbit holes of the elite. Like I mean. I said, like the Jeffrey Epstein thing, everyone knows that story. Everyone's seen that story. Everyone's got an opinion on that story because they've seen what they want to see. They want to see both. They've seen both sides. But like, when you look at him, he was worth billions of dollars. his mates were the ultra elite,
Clinton
and Prince Andrew, Kevin Spacey, all those guys have been at Epstein Island.
That bloke's squeaky clean, Kevin Spacey.
Mate, he couldn't lie straight in bed, that bloke. Mate, I honestly think...
Squeaky clean.
I tell you, Bill Gates has got a lot to answer to. This is, in my opinion...
Mate.
In my opinion, like they were talking, I was watching anything, and then, like you said, you got to go on both sides to form an opinion. My opinion is more so one side. I just watched, his interviews. Mate, he wants this COVID-19 to last a long time, so it creates more fear. This is my take on it. He wants it to last a long time. He's the man that's controlling the vaccine. Now, I'm not saying that I'm anti-vaccine because I don't really give a shit anyway. Because my missus said to me, she's the most conservative woman that I've ever met. She just said to me, you know what? When this first came out, she said, Chris, we're lying in bed one morning, we're talking about this is the height of it. This is when everything was coming out. This is when everyone was shitting themselves. Everyone was panicking about it, going, "Fuck, what's happening right now in the world?" And she said, you know what? There's a vaccine for the flu, and we lose millions of people a year to the common flu who have already been vaccinated. Now we're not anti-vaccines. We're not. I'm not pushing that agenda, and I'm not pushing that. I take vaccines, or
you're just from the outside looking in.
I'm just the outside looking in, and she had a point. She goes, you know what? There's millions of people a year die from the common flu that have already been vaccinated.
Yeah.
So why are we waiting for a vaccination for this COVID-19 when you're going to die anyway? It's one of those things. She goes, in the animal world, in the animal kingdom, if you're weak in the system, you're going to get eaten by a lion. Mm. Or if you're an impala running around with 3 legs, you've got no chance of reaching your first birthday. You're going to get eaten. Yeah. When the lions come hunting, they're going to come hunting for you, and they're going to get you because you can only run on 3 legs.
People don't look at it like that, though.
People are shitting themselves.
You've got to protect the If this came, what am I trying to say? You're right. But that's not how people see. People are weak, so they think that instead of boosting, like, have you seen the ones where there's this humongously overweight lady, that photo of the humongously overweight lady, and she's got her mask pulled down, and she's smoking, and you're thinking,
you're going to die of cancer before this coronavirus, or you're going to die of diabetes.
You should die of a fright, and you're thinking, fuck, you've got a lot more shit to be worried about than this virus, or the fact that you're treating your body like an amusement park. Is probably more high on the priority list to sort out than this virus. Yep. And I think the same thing. And I don't want to go back to that Pete Evans guy again, but he's good. But he's like, just look after yourself. Like, if you just boost your immune system or boost like everything you need to. Like, I've got a bit of a shock. Yep. Like, I wasn't looking after myself at all. I've started a lot more of the last, pretty much since I did that water fast. Yep. Looking after myself a wee bit more because I was just treating myself like an amusement park. No, I wasn't smoking, but I felt like that lady. But and now it's just a noticeable difference, and I'm not scared of that shit at all. Yep. Also, the one thing that concerns me too is when this COVID came out, they decided that it was going to take 2 years for a vaccine. And then they said, oh, look, well, usually it's 2.5 years for a vaccine. We reckon we can make it in 2 years, maybe even 18 months. Yep. Has it been 5 months? Yep. And they got one. Yeah. It's coming out. That's scary to me because I'm like, well, if it takes 2 years to do the proper testing and the proper stuff, why are you doing it in 5 months and that's okay and safe? Yeah. But this is,
like, I watched a lady interview Bill Gates. I think everyone's seen it. It's doing the rounds. And anyway, she questioned him about the vaccine, and he was that uncomfortable because there was 85% or 80% of people had a reaction or didn't fare well to the vaccine, and he sort of got all squirmish. And they were talking about there's 7.7 billion people in the world, and they want to vaccinate at least 75%. You can imagine the money that he's going to be lining his pockets with. Like, he's sitting there and he's like, yes, I've got him. And it's just evil. I think he's evil.
What confuses me is I don't think he's money orientated. From everything I've heard about him, because I remember seeing an interview with him, and he said, we donated $1 billion to vaccines through Africa.
Yeah, but then he wants the population.
His wife said, it was actually $10 billion we donated. He goes, he didn't even realise. So, but something tells me he's not money orientated. So that's what confuses me about that argument. Everyone thinks, he wants these vaccines, Either he's sick and twisted and just loves those, or he's a secret.
But he put a bunch of money into because billions of people or millions of people a year die of diarrhea.
Yeah.
in Africa.
Diarrhea, yeah.
And he just like fixed it all. So that makes me wonder. I'm like, it can't be that bad.
But he's just evil. I think there's a motive. There's a motive behind. There's a motive behind. Like, person with that intelligence. Now, you know, we talked that he hasn't got a medical degree and all that sort of stuff, and he shouldn't be having an opinion on it. But there's just something about him that is not right. Like, you know, you get a gut feeling about a certain person, and you go on that gut intuition. That's what I've got.
Yeah.
I've got that with him at the moment. I've never really been a Bill Gates fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you like that
I
meme
like-
that's
I like
going out.
Apple too.
If you can't fix a virus on a computer, how can he fix a virus in human race? You know, like,
Let's someone isolate that clip. Someone's quote.
you know. But the thing is, like, but then he's given
Fix
us.
them on your computers first, mate,
Yeah,
and then come
yeah.
out into the real world.
Mate, I've got my Apple computer and phone has got viruses all through it, mate. Fix it first before you come with me to the vaccine. But that's like
Let's get Norton onto it.
yeah, Norton was it Norton VPN or VPN or whatever it is. But
speak
yeah,
like-
but that's I mean, with so much stuff in the world, I go back to, you can go down this rabbit hole of the elite, and you can go through the rabbit hole of the agendas of this COVID-19. But I've said to my missus at the moment, I said, you know what, I've switched off all the news. I'll occasionally watch the agenda that the project's putting, because that's what I used to watch a year ago. I don't really watch that now. I sort of, I'll go through my feeds on Facebook and then go onto Google and do my researches and all that sort of stuff. But
Do you know what's another avenue that's effective is, like, this is why I love podcasts so much, because you can go on and listen to one from a scientist, a 3-hour long podcast from a scientist who's like, hey, I've got no agenda here. These are the facts.
yeah.
And you can make up your own mind from that.
Yeah, but you know
How
what
are
they
you
do?
supposed to deliver facts in 3 minutes on the news? It doesn't work,
no,
because
it
you can't form a proper opinion.
No. So
You idiots like us talking about it.
it depends. Yeah, it depends if that show or that network wants to push an agenda. They'll push that agenda. They'll take the narrative and spin it to where you want to believe. But I just sit back and I've switched off all my news. I feel amazing.
So, do you think when you were competing,
Yep.
athletically, you would have done these water fasts more? Because we spoke to Minnie and he said he wished Dad had known this stuff beforehand.
If I was, I've had this discussion with Minnie, and we had it I've had it privately with Minnie as well, and I've had it on the podcast. If I knew about these fasts like that I've been doing, and my eating habits at the moment, from Monday to Friday, I'll eat at 6 o'clock in the evening, 6:30 in the evening, and then I won't eat again until 1:30, 2 o'clock the next day. So it's roughly around 20 hours, 18 hours. I won't eat.
Yeah.
And then now, so when I did my first 72-hour fast, which was 4 months ago, the first day, man, I was ready to cave it in after 24 hours. I was like, nah, I'm fucking starving. I need something to food. And then I'd sit in the couch and I'd go to the fridge and I'd go, nah, and I'd get frustrated and I'm like, fuck, I just want to eat.
Yeah.
Yesterday was my first 24 hours. I felt hungry at about probably 2:30. I started getting a little bit agitated, and then had a drink of water, had a black coffee, and I felt amazing. And from last night, I had the most vividest dreams going on. I was like, wow, this is unreal. Last night. And then this morning, right through, so I'm sitting at around 40 hours now, and I feel fucking amazing.
What were you at 40 hours last time?
Sorry?
What were you at 40 hours last time? Were you struggling?
Struck-
What point were you at 48 hours? So what are you? Your day?
I'm going into day 2.
Day 2. So I was thinking how I was feeling.
So okay, so I'll give you the rundown.
I wish I'd have written it down.
I remember it. First 72 hours that I did 4 months ago. First 24 hours, 10 times I got really agitated, hungry the first 24 hours.
Yeah.
The 24 hours after that, I got hungry probably 3 or 4 times. Then at the 48-hour mark, so at 8 o'clock on the Tuesday, last time, I got really agitated for about probably 3 hours until I had apple cider vinegar, a shot of apple cider vinegar with cold water. It suppressed my appetite. Then I had pink Himalayan salt with water, and it went away. Then I had a dog's breakfast of a sleep that night after 48 hours. And then from 8 o'clock Wednesday morning, so for 12 hours up until 8, till I was allowed to eat to the 72-hour mark. I was in a euphoric state. That's no shit. I rang Minnie, and I said, Minnie, I rang him after lunch. I rang him about probably 2 o'clock, I remember. And he goes, how you going with it all? I said, mate, I am feeling that good. Like, I'm thinking good. I'm like, my mental clarity was unbelievable. I was just in this state of, he goes, mate, were you in a state of euphoria? I said, mate, I'm in a state now where I would love to stay for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And it lasted for 12 hours. Like, I didn't have a come down. I didn't have an anxiety attack. I didn't think, what am I doing? I didn't feel hungry. I know that I prepared a pork belly, which I shouldn't have because it was full of grease.
After you told, when you said you prepared a pork belly and you shouldn't have?
Yeah.
Do you know what I had?
Pork belly?
Lamb chops and veggies. I was like, my missus said, she goes, shouldn't you just have like some salad? I was like, nope,
no.
I'm having veggies.
Well, see, that's what I did. I had and then I felt like shit afterwards. But I got to me 72 hours. That was my reward because it was my first go. Now, today I'm feeling like I could go for a week.
That's do you know? Everyone says first person I ever saw do a 72-hour water fast was Eric Growth.
Oh yeah, right, yeah.
Because he was right into his like all that health stuff.
Yep.
And I saw him do it, and I thought that is ridiculous. There's no way I'd ever do it. And then the more people started doing it, then you did it, and then I saw some other people doing it, and then I had a crack. I genuinely didn't find it difficult to the point where my wife thought I didn't actually do it.
Well, see,
she goes, no, you couldn't have.
This is the thing. Now I know I the first time I did it, I felt good for 12 hours, really good for 12 hours the last day. During the second day, I felt good for, say, maybe 4 or 5 hours. Yeah. But I found that my mates that did it who got a bit of weight on, they didn't. One of my mates, he's probably your build. Mm. He did
Shredded,
not. Yeah. He didn't struggle. And I'm not having to go at you, but
I was just about to say that. I reckon that's why I didn't struggle.
But when he lost weight and he did it again straight away, and he struggled a little bit.
Yeah.
And then he went through those states of euphoria. And I think it, and I'm not having to go at you because I'm the same. Like I didn't feel it. I didn't feel that euphoric state. Now that I've started the fast a little bit less weight. Like I was weighing about 96.5, where when I did it the first time I was weighing 99.5. So I had 3 kilos on. So I've hit a state today, even last night, probably about 4:30 last night. Fuck man, I was flying. Flying. And I wasn't hungry and I didn't get agitated. When I walked in the door and Mrs. had the food cooking for the kids and it fucking smelled beautiful, I felt even better. And even today, I feel like I've felt the last 12 hours of the last time I did it. I'm buzzing.
Just shuttle runs?
I did a 4K run yesterday afternoon, and I did a 5K walk this morning, which I didn't raise my heart rate. It wasn't anything hard. But I feel, even today, I feel like I'm on. I feel like I'm buzzing.
That's why I think I did it quite simple, because I had stores.
Yeah.
Like I think my body went, okay, we'll just eat some of this stuff you've been storing up.
Well, the guys that are ripped and that do it that I know, they felt that euphoric state straight away, and I think that's because
it's weird.
They don't have, like you said, they don't have the fat stores that we've got.
Their body's doing something. It'd be nice to talk to a scientist about that. Like, what you think the body's doing?
Well, I'm only going off my experience, so I'm no sports scientist. I'm no scientist. I'm no naturopath. I've got no degree in that, but I'm only going off what I feel and the experiences that I've been through. Even today, I was already come from a meeting up at Southport, and I was in the meet and I was fucking contributing and I was onto it, and I actually felt like I was taking everything in. Had that mental clarity. It's like those mushrooms that people are taking. The controlled doses with
microdosing.
Yeah. One of my mates, he's doing it at the moment, and he reckons, what do they call it? The third eye in your brain, the
pineal gland.
Pineal gland, because it taps into that. And one of my mates who's a footy player, I won't mention his name. He's very, very, very well known. He's microdosing at the moment.
Sonny Bill.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not Sonny Bill. He's microdosing at the moment. He loves it. He said, you know what?
Is he currently playing?
No.
Oh.
Ex.
I was going to say, you can't. Wouldn't they be? Can they test for mushrooms?
I don't know.
He's a mushroom expert over here.
You eat mushrooms every day.
So it's not like a.
It's just
So the microdosing with all the because I don't really know too much of the microdosing. I'm only just starting to get into that too because it's an awesome rabbit hole to go down. But it's good. Like, mate, I've tried mushrooms before and it was the most fucking best feeling I've ever had in my life. Like I'm not pushing that shit on. It's all. I know if it's legal. I don't know if it's illegal. But a guy said to me, listen, if you microdose on this because the football players have had so many head knocks, it taps into some part of the brain that, correct me if I'm wrong, that it can.
For like, if you've had head injuries.
Yeah, if you.
I'm not sure about that. Like, I don't know about that part of it. But like,
They were talking about it on Joe Rogan that one of the UFC fighters. He said he's been microdosing.
This bloke, Jay should be into it. He's probably had that many head knocks. He's
What's
currently
that?
recovering from a knock now.
Yeah, I know, and his pelvis.
well,
He's
the
just got-
thing with the
His little head struggling.
the thing with the mushrooms is that the molecule binds to the same receptor as like cocaine and ecstasy and stuff like that, but it's like it's not a synthetic version of it. It literally just is that same, like the psilocybin molecule binds with the molecules that's in your brain, so it like works together.
Yep.
It's not like a synthetic version of that, if that makes sense.
No, because it's all from the ground. And the bloke who gave me the micro, he said, "Listen, obviously, he goes, mate, if you don't have too much, you won't feel it. If you don't have enough, you won't feel it. If you have too much, you'll zonk out. So it's got to be done. It's got to be done. The right dosage. And mate, it's not like I don't go out there and want to do that every weekend or do it every day or do it every year." He goes, mate, just try it because I know you've had head knocks. I know that you got, and it was a bit like it wasn't a feeling of I want to go do it all the time. It was just like, okay, right, well, I'm entering things in my head right now that I'm tapping into little spaces in my head. It's a different thing, and it's not.
Well, do you know what? It's got a bad name. If it hadn't have been something that people used at parties all the time,
Yep.
to get off their face or do something. If it had been introduced as like a way of dealing with things, because it gets a bad name from its previous uses.
But I think now that previous uses, I think of mushrooms automatically. I go to Woodstock because that's what they would have been doing
exactly
at Woodstock. But I think now, what's that? 50 years on or 60 years on, I think that the information that's come out of it has gone. You know what? You can use this, and I think the big farmers don't want to really tap into it because it's cutting into their profit because they want to keep on selling these synthetic drugs to people so they can keep on getting addicted to it. Like I got addicted when I was playing rugby league. I got addicted to tramadol, and for 4 or 5 years I was taking 15 tramadols a night.
Really?
Yeah. My missus found me one night OD'd in the shower when I was playing for Parramatta. I was literally. Because after a game you can't wind down, so that was one thing that I used to wind down. That was my like I was sore from playing, even though I was a winger. Like I was sore. It was back into my career. My back was fucked. My knees, everything was. My Achilles was gone. All that sort of shit. So I used to just have tramadols. One morning, Courtney woke up at 2:30 in the morning. I'm in the shower spewing half digested 100 milligram tablets of tramadol, painkillers, and me sitting there just pushing them down. She just fucking give it to me in the shower. And she said, if I see you do that again in my house again, don't come back. And I had to wean myself off it because that's what the big farmers do. They want your business. And you know what? If you can grow something naturally in your backyard and it be beneficial for you, mate, they don't want to be a part of that. They're like, fuck, mate, we're a $1 trillion
business.
We're a $1 trillion company. We can't just go out there and grow mushrooms and say our mushrooms are better because we grow them in greener grass. People can do it. And that's why people, you go down to
the same thing with weed though, isn't it? Like that's got its own benefits. Like we had a CBD doctor in here, and he was speaking like about how all the doses he can give and like how medically you can do it, and it's a far safer option.
And who's getting into that space? The big farmers.
Yeah, well, they've had to now.
That's right, because you know what?
Realise the writing's on the wall.
They've suppressed it for so long, and we keep on going back to this age of information at our fingertips. People are reading about it, and people are getting the right information. They're, the smart ones are deciphering the bad stuff between the good stuff, and then sitting in the middle, going, right, well, okay, I've got both, lots of information. I'm going to use this to my benefit, and that's how come they've tried to say it's an illegal drug and it's so bad and it's blah, 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 all the marijuana and stuff. Now, I think the tide's changing with the mushrooms and all that sort of stuff because it does come from the ground. It can't be that harmful. And we come from the ground too. But, that's how it is. They try and suppress it because they're going to line their pockets. Now they're getting into that sort of field, and it's a massive business.
You've got a lot of documentaries ahead of you.
Mate, I've got heaps.
The thing that always trips me out, and I always tell people when it comes to the mushrooms and the weed and stuff, is like they have a thing called a LD50, which is like the lethal dose of something. So like there's a LD50 for like Panadol and Nurofen and all these drugs. There's literally no LD50 for weed. Like you cannot overdose on weed. Like you can overdose on alcohol. You can overdose on anything. Mushrooms, no LD50. Weed, no LD50. No, you cannot die off it.
Yeah.
So it's like, how is this a bad thing?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's legal. It's legal to like, there's mushrooms out there that could like make you sick and kill you if you went far enough into the jungle. They're not illegal to eat, but the one that can't kill you is. That's
right.
what I always tell people. I'm like, hey, what's the thinking here?
Yeah, I know, but it's fuck. Man, I tell you what, but this is
the same as like.
Let's set aside a 5-hour podcast.
I know, but like I honestly, people say to me all the time, and this is my throwaway line. I said, we are pawns in their game. Like that's all we are. Like they teach us, go through school, learn things about history that aren't true. That's been, whatever it is.
Well, it's what they decide you need to learn about history.
That's right.
There's plenty of history they should be fucking teaching too, and they don't.
Exactly right. Then they teach it 18 years of age, either go to college, go to uni, sit there for 10 years, study whatever you want to study, then go find a job until you're 80-year-old or 60-year-old or 65, and then you know what? You're 65-year-old, you're 15 years off death. Like, what kind of life is that? Like, that's how come there's so many people out there trying to fucking make a quick buck because they don't want to work till they're 65. You know, like
seems to me like once people, it's like their end game, eh? They want to get to 65 so they can retire.
Yeah,
it's like fuck
that.
Like, I've never bought it. I've never thought about that as like, oh geez, I just can't wait to get to 65 because, like, well, nowadays you can be a pretty fit 65-year-old, but why would you not want to create a life where you don't really want to retire from?
But the thing is, it's like
an end game.
Go back to the marijuana and the mushrooms. Like you said, it's. Mate, we're being told by people who are sitting there, the puppeteers, that these are bad, don't take them, because they're lining their pockets because they're giving drugs to people that they can get hooked on. You know, take heroin and cocaine and all that away because I think they're your bad drugs and your meth your meth.
But they're all derived from a natural product.
Yeah, but they've all been mixed with something. I mean, you can mix mushrooms and marijuana with chemicals too, but it's more natural than what you're going to get fucking snorting dried out diesel.
It's always funny with the influencers, eh?
Oh.
And they're all organic through the week, and they snort all sorts of synthetic shit up their nose during the week.
And they got no septum, but
no septum, but they're like, organic juice.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck, righto.
But that's the thing. Like I had my first weekend off the piss last weekend, and first time for since I was 12. But like my Mondays yesterday were full of work. Today's full of work. It's bang on. But even alcohol. You put that sort of shit in your system. Like, I'm not going to not drink. I love drinking, but I know the dangers of it. But I think if we're just educated more, I think there's more education on drugs that are synthetic than what they spend on.
Yeah, but alcohol is associated with a good time.
So is drugs.
That's what I mean. That's why people have it. So. Yeah, like for me, and I also think it's what you brought up with too. Like my dad never really drunk. Like he would drink. Yeah.
I've seen my dad drunk once.
Oh really? Yeah. Well, there you go. Well, my dad wouldn't really drink. I've probably seen him drunk a few times, but he never really would. He wasn't a heavy drinker. Like he'd have a beer after work sometimes, not very often. Yep. And because of that, I'm about the same. Yep. Like I don't really like if my mates come around, we'll have a beer, but just sitting at home every now and then I'll have one with the missus. But I'd rather have a cold drink of juice or something. Alcohol for me doesn't. It's not an exhale. Like I don't have a drink of alcohol and go, the day's over.
See, I have a drink of coffee. I have a drink of coffee in the morning and go, oh yes.
Yeah, I'm more like that. Yeah, I'd rather
that's
have a coffee
too.
at night. Yeah.
But coffee's 4 months ago I couldn't drink a coffee. I'd have a coffee in the morning at 9 o'clock. I'd have 15 anxiety attacks until 10 o'clock until when I went to bed. Really? If I had one coffee, if I had one coffee, I couldn't drink coffee. I was so anti-coffee like you wouldn't believe. Now I have 3 cups a day. And
Really?
I can have a cup of coffee before I go to bed. Like my brother Shane, he has 5 or 6 cups a day and has one before he goes to bed. And I was like, this 6 months ago, I was like, are you off your head?
Yeah.
I'd have one in the morning at 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock. I still couldn't sleep till 10. I'd be sitting there staring at the ceiling.
Really?
But now I don't know. And then I don't know. There's anyway. We
What's
can
off subject?
Yep.
How do you think Mr. Sonny Bill's going to go?
Yeah. Well, I watched him play when he came back. His first game for the Toronto it was bad. Like he was really bad. He was first.
Understandably, though.
He'd been out of the game, but mate, okay. So my theory
Have
on
you ever played him?
yeah, I played him. I played against him when I was at the Titans, and I've known Sonny since he was about 15.
Mm.
His manager at the time was the same manager as me, and when I was playing for the Roosters, I used to go to dinner with him and talk to him about the rigmarole of rugby league. Him and Nate Miles and all those boys used to be at dinner with me because they were all managed by the same. Because my manager used to get me to go to dinner with him, and went to dinner with him a couple of times and just told him that what you're supposed to do playing rugby league. Not that I was a very good fucking. I didn't practice what I preached.
Yeah, I know.
But mate, going back to Roosters under Trent Robinson, Craig Fitzgibbon, and their coaching staff, mate, I give him. I'm not going to expect him to blow us away in the first game, but mate, he'll
find form pretty quick, eh?
Mate, he's in a great environment.
I heard a good thing that the reason probably why he went back to the Roosters, because say if he went to like the Warriors or maybe the Bulldogs or something like that, they'd use him as a battering ram.
Yeah,
and his body probably wouldn't keep up. But whereas Roosters will just chuck him on for 20 minutes here, 15 minutes there, like as a bit of a game breaker.
And he's an athlete.
Oh, mate.
I mean, he dropped every ball that came to him his first game back for Toronto. He hasn't been very effective over there. But, mate, the coaching staff, for me, is number one for him.
Yep.
The environment that he's going to have with Nick Politis at the Roosters is number two. And you get those two right, which they will. You've got a happy Sonny Bill, and you've got a player that is going to have his worth. Like that.
Just 150 grand too for the rest of the year.
Yeah, that's a week.
Yeah. Just 150 grand. That's all you'll be getting.
I have no comment because I like the Roosters.
Yeah, good.
And my little nephew's down there
good.
playing.
Hey,
so
we're good for you speak of people like him. How good would it be to have he'd be the first person I'd have him. Like, I'd want to go and play next to.
Yeah,
just to see how
if Sam does get his go this year, I mean he's coming back from a shoulder Rico last year at the end of last year, so he's not playing football, so it's hard to break into that team. But if he does get his chance and Sonny Bill's on the outside of him or inside of him, she's game over.
Just even at training, even seeing like what professionalism looks like.
Well, the thing is, you don't need Sonny to show you what professionalism and what it's like, because I mean the Roosters are every single player that's in that system at the Roosters, they're like Sonny. Actually, they'll probably teach Sonny a little bit about professionalism.
But a lot of them would have probably learnt it off him 7 years ago, 8 years ago when he was there.
Yeah, to a certain degree.
Because they do say that, I mean, obviously they're professionals first and foremost, but
they would have learned
level.
There's another level. I mean, he hasn't been at the top of his game for, nearly 20 years now? For nothing.
Yeah.
You know.
He's a gun, but everything he goes to, like they did a bit of a breakdown the other day of like where he went.
Yep.
Even with the Super Rugby, goes to the Chiefs, wins Chiefs final. Like that, he's always there or thereabouts. Yeah. Very rarely is in a team that's dropping the ball. And I believe the Toronto Wolfpack would have.
Oh yeah.
Gone once he found his feet and found like his. But then over there again, he was meant to be like a battering ram too over there. And
but you don't play him like that. You play Sonny.
But that's what they have to do. They've paid $5 million a season for him.
No, it wasn't $5 million a season.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
No, $2 million a season.
Pretty sure it's $5 a season.
No, it's $10 million for 2 years. For 5 years.
No, it's only 2 years. He was only there. It was on a 2-year contract.
Sure.
No.
You sure?
No.
Okay. All right. Well,
I'm pretty sure.
We'll do a check for next one. For next podcast,
it was fuckloads anyway.
Yeah,
whatever it was.
Yeah.
But I also think there was a Netflix documentary as part of it.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was. It was a Netflix documentary was part of the deal.
Yeah, well, that Argyle, what's his name? Argyle.
Argyle
Jewelers. He's the one that owns the Toronto. He's obviously a massive fan, which is, I mean, it brought a lot of interest back into the game over there.
It's just a shame this shit happened. And
mate, fuck.
I got one thing I want to. I've been watching like footy for years. Do you know one thing that shits me about footy afterwards is when players, you know that you got strapping for Africa on you.
Yep.
Players unstrap, like they say you have a wrist strap, they unstrap it and they just throw it down right there on the field.
Does it bother you?
It bothers me.
Does
Every
it?
time I see it, to the point where I want to write a strongly worded letter to management and say, if you want your team to look professional, don't like. And dudes will do it even when they're getting interviewed. They're like, "Yeah, good game." And they'll just throw it and they'll keep talking. I'm like, what?
Does that
Why
bother
do
you?
Fuck, it bothers me. Every time I see it, every time I'm like, would you do that? Would you do that if you're on the street? Would you just take your strapping off and throw it on the ground?
No, hell no.
Okay, so whose problem is it now to pick it up
The
off
grounds
the field?
person.
But why is it their fault? Why is it not hard for you?
I don't. You know what? I can't answer that question. I can't answer that
Shits
question.
me. You watch a thing now. Every time I see it, and it's not just it's like union as well.
Yep.
So I watch a lot of union
Oh,
too.
yeah.
They just throw it, and they'll be like talking to their mates, and it's like they don't even think about it. They don't even go. It's like they don't put into perspective that someone has to pick this up.
Yeah,
It's just
great.
I've just finished the game. I'm knackered. I'm taking this off. Oh, fucking get the shit
Yeah,
off me.
but
And I understand.
also too, you got to realise that there's 15 bins in the dressing shed.
Why can't there be one on the sideline? Why can't little Jimmy the ball boy, he goes and gets the little green bin and he goes to sideline and goes, here fellas.
Because it's not his role. It's not the
Whose role is
groundskeeper.
it?
It's the player's role to go put in the bin in the sheds.
But why exactly?
I don't know. I'm not getting into talking about rugby league players and
I'm
sports
not-
people because
it's
I
just
get in
sports
trouble
people.
about it
Well,
all the time.
But okay, show me someone who can give a solid argument in that and I'll show you a peanut.
No, well, I'm not arguing. I'm just not gonna.
Any
comment
players want to,
because-
you fucking wait. If a player can come with a comment as to why they
Have you
deserve...
seen my social media lately when
I have.
you're commenting about
you need to
players
just-
and
yeah.
ex-players? Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
you-
leave me out of that.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, no, but the thing is, I couldn't give a fuck anyway.
know you
Honestly, the grief, the little bit of grief that I got because I got a lot of support. I getting back to that story, like, well, it's come up, so we might as well talk about it. But I obviously got in trouble a couple of weeks ago, talking about Brodie Croft and the things that happened after games, certain games. I mean, I copped a bit of flack, but I tell you, I got a lot of support out of that. I got a lot of support.
More support than flack, I would have thought.
More support.
Yeah.
More support. And, big Payne Haas come in. And I like that, Payne come in and, he was sticking up for his boy. But, I mean.
heard Gordy Tallis talk about it.
Did you?
Yeah.
What did he say?
He said you were both right.
We're both right.
Yeah. He said you were right, saying what you said, and Payne Haas was right, saying what he said.
Yeah, that's
He
right.
goes, he goes, I'd expect that from. He goes, I expect that. He goes, I know exactly what he's saying, what you're saying, and he goes, I would do exactly what Payne Haas did to you.
Yeah.
He goes, that's both our jobs.
Yep.
He goes, my job was to back up my teammates.
Yep.
And he did that, and you've called him out on what's something that's pretty obvious.
Yeah, that's right.
He's like, so no one's wrong, and both people are right.
Yeah.
It's a scenario where
I actually apologised to Payne publicly and privately. I haven't got a response from him back privately yet, but I'm not expecting him to, and I don't give a fuck if he doesn't. Because at the end of the day, he is right. He's right.
But what are you apologising for?
Well, I'm apologising for attacking a player and questioning his passion. I shouldn't have done that, and I don't know the bloke personally. I should have probably done it personally in a private manner. But I have a platform to talk about this. And you know what? At the end of the day, I had a platform to talk about it, and I'm going to talk about it because you know what? When I was in that position on the field and I did something wrong, everyone had a platform to talk about what I did on the football field. So I have the right to voice my opinion. If it's wrong, if it's right, or you don't agree with it, who gives a fuck? I don't care because that's my opinion.
Yeah, but you're not a couch expert.
No, but
so
that's right.
You've got to take a little bit of pride's the wrong word, but you got to take a little bit of gumption and saying, look, I'm coming from a place where I'm allowed to speak about this.
But and that's the thing. Like, Payne Haas was right. Petro was a little bit filthy on Petro coming out and saying, you got to back it. Well, fuck Petro. Where the fuck were you when blokes having pot shots? And I'm not asking for sympathy.
Yeah,
I couldn't care less. But don't. And then I've tried to get in contact with Petro. Try to call him. I reckon I called him about 20 times. No answer. Text messaging. No answer. No reply. Like Petro. Yep. I'm fine with you saying that. But where were you when blokes were having pot shots at me?
Yeah.
And you know what? It doesn't. I couldn't give a fuck if he did stick up for me. I couldn't care less.
You weren't asking for his backup, but
I'm not asking for his backup. But then don't come at me for a bit of clickbait and go, you know what? Oh, you got to stick with the boys. Blah blah blah. Like, don't say that, mate. Come and talk to me. Yep, right. You said it. I'll put it back out there on social media because you come at me on social media as well. And I've also come at you privately, but you haven't responded because, not all the people are going to see that. Yep, we've had a chat because it's private. But, you can come out there and say it on a public forum, which is fine. He's got his opinion. I couldn't care less. I don't take his opinion as respect. I just go, righto, well, that's his opinion. I'm fucking couldn't care less. I couldn't give a fuck. I couldn't give a fuck about what anyone says, but really, honestly, it does not bother me what people think about me, because at the end of the day, like I say to my kids, and this is my point, when someone says something bad about me, I don't take it to heart. I don't go, oh shit, fuck, I've got to go now, try and say sorry to him, and I've got to go, because I'm just wasting my time, because someone will have a pot shot at you and they'll send, and then you know what they're doing? They're on to the next person they want to bag. They don't give a fuck. They couldn't care about the comment that they made about you.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you know what? 2 seconds later, they've forgotten about it and they're on to the next person to bag because they're so insecure about themselves. That's what I say to my kids. If people have a go at you at school or in the playground, well, let them have a go at you, because if you respond to it or give it breath or give it life, well, then they're going to keep on coming back at you because they got you.
Yeah.
But if you just let it go, whatever, mate, fuck off. I couldn't care about what you do in your spare time, so I'm not going to care about you giving a shit about me in your spare time. I'm not going to care about that. Yeah. That's what I tell my kid. And my kids at young age, my twins are 10 and Harper's 12, they all get it. They go, Dad, righto. Well,
I'm with you. Yeah.
I'm with you, that's my...
See, the thing is, would it have been effective if you had a message Brodie Croft personally and said, hey, I've seen this.
Would have been effective.
Or do you think he's probably seen your post?
100% he would have seen it.
Probably, he's like, oh shit, that probably does look bad. I see what,
No, because I don't think kids these days see it like that. If I'd just been beaten by 40 points, you know what I'm doing? I'm putting my tail between my legs and I'm getting the fuck off that field. And I'm sitting in the shed, and it's happened 1,000 times. It's very fucking hard to look at your player that's sitting across from you. It's hard to sit there and look at the coach in the eye. It's hard to sit and look at everyone in the eye, let alone an opposition team who's just put on 40 points and have a joke. That was my point. My point was, righto, this is, I don't know Brodie. I've never met Brodie. I don't know what kind of bloke he is. I've never heard what kind of bloke he is. I've just seen what I've seen and made my opinion. Yes, I've apologised because that's what I want to do. Because I don't know the bloke. If it had been Mick Crocker or someone I know personally, I would have had a tack. I would have said, mate, what are you fucking doing? And posted something about it. But I don't know him personally. I'm not going to send him my number and say, listen, give me a call, Brodie, because he won't. That's my opinion. Now, I know I rubbed a lot of people up there. I know I rubbed a few players up the wrong way, but I've also got a lot of people in my support.
It's not the first time, won't be the last.
Fucking know that won't be. It won't be. I can guarantee it won't be. But that's my opinion. Like if people are so worried about it, don't read what I write or don't see what I say.
Well, I think also that
don't hear what I say.
Back probably before social media too, that would have been an article. Like that would have been an article on the front page. Everybody would have bought their paper on a Sunday or a Saturday and read it. Nowadays, how long did that take you? 30 seconds?
Yeah. So the thing is also too, this is why, there's the conversation I have with Mace. This is why rugby league players or sports people or people in the public eye can use their social medias to absolute tea if they do it right. Back when I started playing, if you had a shit of a game, a journo would write, fucking Chris Walker had a bludger. He did this, and this wrong. And I had no right to reply. I couldn't reply to that. I just have to open up the paper the next day and let all people around Australia read about my fucking shit game, right?
Yeah.
And you go, fuck, well, how do I reply to that? Well, I'll tell you what I do. Next week, I go out there and I show that fucking journo that I can play football. And you go out there, you put your best foot forward. Nowadays, which is a good thing in a certain way, if someone has a go at you in the media, you can respond on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, fucking Snapchat if you want to. Now TikTok, but I don't know how long TikTok's going to last because apparently we're all getting banned from that, which is a good thing because I fucking hate the thing. But you can reply. You can reply straight away. Like if Andrew Webster from down at Sydney writes something bad about me, or Denny Weidler or Peter Bedell writes something bad about me on social media, I can respond straight away. I can get told about it or read about it, and then I've got to write a reply. Well, fuck, this is why I play bad, or don't even make a mistake. You can tell them to fuck off.
That's I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, eh?
Well, you can use it to
how overwhelming it will be,
but you can use it to your advantage. You can use it to your advantage because you can have your say, and then you get your phone, and put it down and watch the movie on Netflix that you're watching.
Yeah. I don't see. I think there's going to be a reason. Like there's a couple of guys down in Sydney that do it, like that bloke in a bar, and then also Isaac John. They have heaps of players on quite a bit.
Well, see, Denham Kemp, he rang me.
Yeah.
And then he did his podcast. He goes, right, what was your, I'm going to come out there. He goes, Walks, I'm not going to bag you. He had his 2 cents worth on his podcast, which is fine. He rang me and said, mate, why'd you do it? So I told him, I said, mate, this is why I did it. I said, because this is how I felt at the time. I felt that there was no genuine feeling, after that loss where he was crying. And then the next week he gets beaten by 40 and then starts crying. And so I put my case forward. And he goes, well, why would you do that? And I said, because I can. Yeah. So because I've bled for that club. I played for that club for a long time, and I've got an opinion, and I'm going to put it out there. And he goes, oh, and he sort of tried to dilute it a little bit. And I said, no, mate. I said, I'm not. I've said sorry, and I generally mean that I'm sorry. I probably should have gone about it in a different way, probably, but I've got no regrets in doing it. But I've got no regrets in saying sorry either.
Yeah.
And I said to him, mate, I've got an opinion, and that's my opinion. Like, you're going to have an opinion of me on your show, and you're going to say what you needed to say, and I'm not bothered by it, and I'm not bothered by it. Like, I'm not bothered that he come out and said, Walk should have done this, and this and this. Fucking doesn't bother me one bit. Couldn't care less.
It makes sense, but also the point I was also making as well is that wouldn't it be great if players could utilise platforms like that a lot better than, like, because obviously, say if something happens with one of the Titans players, they get in the shit or something. I say, hey, come in here.
Yep.
See the Brodie Croft. You're only up the motorway. Come up here.
Yep.
We'll chat for half an hour.
Yeah, but
you can't get them in to do that.
But this is the thing. This is what I'm saying. Players can use their social media if they do something wrong. Like, fucking, I wish I had social media when I got locked up, fucking 5 times, which I did. I could have come in and said, "Yep, I fucked up," but I had to wait, go into the club, form a statement, get it done, call a press conference, fucking.
The statement's not you either.
And the statement's not me, but I could have come out and done an Instagram or a fucking Facebook or whatever I needed, whatever platform I was on at the time. I could have come out and said, "Yep, right, listen, guys, I've stuffed up. This is the reason why I shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have been out in the drink. I shouldn't have, I should have went home at 12 o'clock. Nothing good happens after 1 o'clock, blah, blah, blah. Done my thing." Yeah. And then, put it to bed straight away. Like Wayne Bennett, he does it really well. Wayne Bennett does it really well. If there's a player, he either goes, he front foots it, Wayne, or he'll sit back, gain all the information, and then let the media just fucking die it. Because you know what? 2 days' time, there's going to be another story.
Oh, mate, that's rugby league for you.
Well, that's sport. That's sport in general. There's always going to be another story that'll gazump it, unless it's massive.
It's
massive.
Politics too. That's it. You got to go.
Got to go.
People to do. People to see.
Yep.
Not do.
Yeah. My wife won't be happy if I do, people.
Don't tell her.
No. Good.